Hello friends, it is Monday the 10th of September 2018. Today's high was about 74. We've had this really nice stretch of cool weather in the upper 60s, low 70s, which is what I love. And the garden is in peak raspberry and gourd mode. Otherwise, it is getting ready to shut down for the winter time. So let's head on in and take a look. Well, before we head on in, I guess I'll just do a little pan here so you can kind of see what things look like. I never did end up filling these front beds, didn't get around to doing a second planting for the fall with the baby. It just wasn't practical, but that's okay. Next year it was right around the bend. I ended up stabilizing the trellis here. If you remember from the last tour, not last week, but 2 weeks ago, this was falling over because of some heavy winds. And over there we've got the raspberries. So maybe I'll just start from the outside. So anywhere you go around my garden, you're going to have raspberries like this. This is not just, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ripe raspberries. It's 5 ripe raspberries and like another 2 dozen things that have yet to come to fruition. So every day or so, I just go out and I pick them, put them in a great big bowl, and we eat them. But I really want to do some canning this year. But these really are just phenomenal. They're attractive to look at. If I could focus. Sorry, evening light. They're attractive to look at. They're delicious to taste. And they're all around just wonderful. All right, this past weekend I came out and I did some harvesting. And I think I got 8 or 9 of my koginut squash. A few of these decorative gourds already, just to maybe do something with them. 3 small pumpkins that we want to cut up and puree. 1 little baby butternut squash. Got another one forming down there. And I've got plenty more things on the vine, like this is another koginut that I'm waiting for it to turn orange before I pull it off. But we're making use of all of this produce. I think we cooked 4 spaghetti squash this weekend, which is fantastic. We cook them up and we freeze them. Thanks to my mother, thanks Mom, we got a really nice freezer in the basement now, one of the doors that comes out like this, not a chest freezer. And we're putting all sorts of good produce in there that we've been, processing and putting in bags for the wintertime so we can put it into soups and fun things. So this has been very productive and it's kept all these vining things relatively controlled. And next year I've got some ideas for design changes to keep it, erect like this and not warping as badly, which includes not planting pumpkins on it, wouldn't you know? Overall, very pleased for the first year. I still have yet to do pretty much anything with my kale. The zucchini plant here is, just when you think it's done producing, it surprises you. I mean, take a look there. Look at another flower head that's going to make a vegetable plant. I'm just flabbergasted by it. So I did a good job getting rid of those hideous bugs that were infesting my things last year. And the tomatoes are pretty much all done. Harvested lots of them. There's a few cherry tomatoes that you can see if you squint really closely, like right over there. Still ripening up as the season is near the end, so they're tasty to pop off and snack on. So here I'm surrounded by peppers and tomatoes of all sorts that are still producing, which is just so cool. You can kind of see over my corner I've got an assortment of green peppers that are getting nice and big, so we're going to have a second pretty decent sized harvest from them in another couple weeks. I've got tomatoes like this down here. I could pop this off and eat it right now, but I'm just going to keep them on the vine a little bit longer. I think we're going to make some sauce for that spaghetti squash I had talked about before. And then I've got things like these banana peppers, which are all ready to go. I've got, a dozen on there that I can pick off and cut up and put away. And lots of little cherry tomatoes anywhere you go. It's been fun. It really has. I have to do something different for this next year. I thought this trellising system would work better than it did. It didn't, but the tomatoes did a fine job anyways. These have just done exceptionally well. I don't think I've ever had pepper plants that have been this tall or been this productive. I think that's because I did a round of harvesting, and then, I encouraged them to grow, and they just budded out, and they did a second round of production, which is really, really amazing. I think that's it in this frame. So believe it or not, banana peppers do make a pretty good snack just straight from the garden. They're nice and mild, but they have great flavor. So I'm going to finish this while we're chatting. Corn obviously is done. I'm just letting it dry up. It'll look like this bad boy. All of it in a little bit. I'm thinking maybe I should just cut it down, you know, rip it up, snip it at the bottom, and then lay them flat to dry out. I just want them as decoration at this point. So if you've grown corn and done that for like bound stalks for your front step for decoration, let me know if you think that's what I should do, because I think that's what I'm going to do. These Mexican sunflowers here, these beautiful orange ones, have been just beautiful, and I've loved them the whole season. This is a random volunteer. This is not a seed that I planted, unless it was like in my seed packet, just as an accident, because it's the only one of its kind. It's really very, very cheerful, don't you think? So I love that that finally opened up. And of course back here, this was supposed to be the mammoth. And the theory that I'm going with is that it needed another mammoth sunflower in order to pollinate and form a head. And since it was the only one of its kind to actually come up, and that just didn't happen. About half a mile in that direction, I saw a small cluster of these, maybe 3 of them. And their heads are just huge, and they're drooping, and they look like they should be looking at this time of year, by this time of year. So that's the hypothesis that I'm going with. And, you know, lesson learned this year. I'm happy that I did it. It was cool to see the stalk grow, and we'll have better luck next time, I'm sure. Before I run away from this particular section, I wanted to show you I've got a ton of basil that we need to cut and process. Probably going to make a bunch of pesto. The potatoes, as far as I'm concerned, are ready to be harvested. So we'll be getting around to that soon. You know, these are definitely shriveling, dying off. So I think it's time. And we picked our last spaghetti squash, so I can take this out, which is kind of nice when you stagger the things in your garden that you can pick at different times. That means you can clean throughout, so it's not just one great big exodus of biomatter, you know, plant material at the same time of the year. Oh, isn't that pretty? I should take a picture. All right, well, I'm pretty much going to cut it here. I don't have a whole lot to talk about. You know, you've seen all the raspberries. Yay, it's very exciting. I'm not going to show off me cooking or anything. I might show some pictures of the harvest that I had earlier this week. I'll end with these pumpkins. It should be fine if I pick them up. I've got 2 of these bigger bad boys down here. I'm going to rotate this one right now, and the second one is hanging there. So I'm going to keep these on the vine as long as we can, and hopefully in October we'll pick them off, and these 2 we will carve as, you know, fun little jack-o'-lanterns. And then we'll, of course, use the seeds and fry them up. So that is... Oh, I don't want to twist it too badly. Oh. There we go. That is that. How are things in your garden growing in September? Are you pretty much done? You got a couple months to go. I still have ambitions for doing the fence, and I still have ambitions for doing a low tunnel in that front bed so we can get the season started even earlier in the springtime. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Other things take priority, you know? That's life. And gardening is fun, and it's meant to be fun and not stressful. And that's what it is for me. So I think I'm going to enjoy the sunset as it goes down here. And I hope you're doing well wherever you are. Thanks for watching. Until next time, happy gardening, happy woodworking, and other things that you say in an outro. Bye, guys.